leads you to believe that they just get the flamingos, chuck them and die, and then throw them out in the wild.
All right, relax, buddy.
I've lost all faith in the game. Question 1. Like the opposite of misogynistic. Misandrinist or something like that.
I thought that was the lady of the night.
Welcome back to Critical Banter, the podcast that brings the Friday drinks chat to you. This week's episode, we have a new game called Urban Myth. And second segment, going head to head, we're putting Tokyo against Sydney in various categories. So watch out for that one. But for that throughout the week, we got me, Miguel, we have Seni.
Hello.
And we've got Rowie.
G'day.
All right, today's drink quickly. I've got in my PSG cup. I've got a bit of Voost. So,
Sorry?
You know, the electrolyte drink, a bit of Voost, a bit of that. It's lovely. I've already had some. 6 out of 10 does the job. But Rowie, what do we have for the fellas?
Well, keen listeners actually would notice that we actually travelled over the last couple of weeks. And perhaps 3 of the, you might be thinking, how did you, get those episodes out in Japan? The answer is we didn't. And so we were promoting a live show multiple weeks without any kind of, we just shoved in the little clip of Mig saying, hey guys, we've got a live show. But I'm glad and sad to tell you that we have sold out our tickets in under a week.
Unreal response from you lot out there.
Yeah. And so we would actually extend a heartfelt thank you. This may seem sarcastic, but it's actually not.
Rose's tone is all over the shop.
What are you doing right now?
No. Look, I just want to thank everyone for buying tickets because, to be honest, we weren't expecting this at all.
No.
A little behind the scenes look at the live show preparation. Avid fans would have remembered we had a man by the name of Chilsey, Anthony Skinner, on the podcast many moons ago.
Many moons ago.
He is actually the person who runs the comedy clubs in Sydney. And we reached back out to him. We're like, hey, we want to run a live show. And he said, live show? Mate, what are you talking about? You lot?
Okay, let's not do him dirty like this.
He didn't say that. I think Kush would have said that, if anything.
No. So he's like, oh yeah, no dramas, boys, no dramas, whatever. Anyways, we teed it up with him. He said he generously invited us to Kinsella's. And he's like, oh, how much do you want to sell? He's like giving us tips for, promoting this and that.
Actually, yeah, let's shout him out. He's actually been very helpful.
Yeah, he's been huge. He's been huge for this. But we then put out the post and then we recorded a quick Instagram story in Japan saying, live show tickets out now.
Let's lift the hood onto that as well, right?
Oh, please, yeah.
So I put a story out on the pod Instagram earlier in the day with a countdown of, I think, 8 p.m. Let's post a story.
Hype building.
So Ro and I were in the car. We're like, let's re-record this. Let's really prepare. Let's write a script. Let's do all this. Come 8 p.m., we're in a Chinese restaurant in Tokyo. My alarm goes off and I'm like, Ro, we got to record something, brother.
The countdown is over. We got to send something through the pipeline.
So he pulled send from the other restaurant he was eating at. We record outside some random Japanese restaurant.
And then sent it through. And then the response has actually been huge. To be honest, we actually did not think, a lot of negative vibes in the camp here. Will people come to see us? Will people buy tickets? Is there any interest whatsoever in a TCB live show?
Who would want to see us?
And the answer was yes. So thank you very much for everyone who bought tickets. Commiserations for those who missed out. If this goes well, big if this goes well.
Massive if.
We'll do another one. We'll do another one for all you lot. But we went to Japan, as I alluded to earlier, and a couple of things went wrong, I got to say. There was 8 of us, a big group. People were whispering on our ears, it's never going to work. You're never going to find seats at restaurants.
Negativity.
Never been done before.
8-person trip to Japan. But we did it. We went for, 2.5, 3 weeks. We're back. But we want to go through some yarns around kind of what went wrong. Because, no one cares about what went right.
Yeah, no, that's boring.
That's boring. So, mate, start us off. What went wrong immediately?
Yeah, straight off the bat, the mishaps began. I think we landed in Tokyo around 8 p.m., 9 p.m. So by the time we got to the hotel, went out to have a feed, it was already well past midnight. And we went to this ramen shop, maybe 5-10 minutes from where we were staying in Shinjuku. It's a great little spot. I think there was only 10 people in there and 8 of us were us.
Yeah.
And we had a feed and we came out and then we were just trying to figure out what we wanted to do next. It was the first night. We're like, do we kick on? We were ravenous, or do we just go back and maybe hit the hay? And me and Ro, immediately, there was a little family mart across from the ramen place. We went in there and we sussed the prices of the cigarettes just as a little, feel
market. You got to scout the market.
Yeah. And I was shocked to see that decks are like $5 there, or like $4. Anyway, we come back and everyone was laughing. And I'm like, shit, what happened? What did we miss? And turns out that your missus actually had left her wallet in the restaurant. And actually, the guy had come out to hand deliver the wallet back to her. And I got to say, if it wasn't for me and you going to see the cigarette prices, she would never have gotten her wallet back. So really, we were doing everyone
thanks to Marlboro.
Well done, boys. Well done, boys.
Thank you.
But that really set the tone for really the rest of the trip. There was many mishaps in terms of just losing things, leaving things. So the next one was, again, your missus. We were in Tokyo for the first 3 or 4 days. And then we went out to Mount Fuji. And we left at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning to catch a train to Mount Fuji from Tokyo. And so obviously there was a lot of hustle and bustle. And we also forwarded some of our luggage as well the day before. So there was a lot of turmoil happening in each of the rooms. So this one I won't really blame her. But what had happened was she had left her iPad.
Well, we got to the train and we're like, oh, let's just watch some, I don't know, Bridgerton on the train. I had a look through the belongings. No iPad. Have a look at Find My Friends. And the iPad, like this little dot, it's like, last seen at this location in the Amanak Hotel.
Hotel.
Live location as well.
Live location.
That hurts.
Yeah.
So what, did you call them back or?
No, well, yeah. Then I asked, because Christina Miggs' missus is the only person who had like a working phone that could call.
The rest of us had like eSIMs, which we had data for, but we didn't have phone calls.
So I politely asked to borrow that to call Hotel Amanaki, and in like very broken Japanese,
You spoke Japanese, huh?
No, I tried. In very broken, English and Japanese, I was trying to get the point across that I left my iPad in. I'm at this room. Can we have you found it, essentially? I think they got the gist and they were like, well, they didn't really say anything. They just said, we'll have a look and we'll let you know. Then I was like, all right, I'll just email them. Then I emailed them saying, hey, I left my iPad there. Did you guys find it? They emailed back saying, yep, no dramas, come back. And luckily we were going back to Tokyo for like 2 or 3 days after our adventures. So no stress there.
So then we went to Mount Fuji, then we went to Kyoto, and then one day, and I think this was the story you put up to tease the live episode, was that the boys wearing kimonos. So one morning we did a tea ceremony, traditional tea ceremony, and we all dressed up in kimonos. So actually that was a bit of a rude awakening as well. We were meant to get there at 9 a.m. I think me and you, Ro, we rocked up at 9:05.
Yeah.
And they're like, the whole group has to be here in 5 minutes or your booking's cancelled. I'm like, oh my God. Jesus. So
there's no island time in Japan. It's very, you got to be on, which doesn't bode well for us, really.
But I think that's where some of these problems started, because we got ushered in quickly into another room. They're like, change your clothes immediately. Miro and Miggs went into the same changing room, which would have been fine, but Ro had to make it weird by making weird noises. So me and Miggs immediately left that changing room.
As soon as the tops came off, Ro was making all sorts of noises.
But the girls were ushered into a different changing room across the street, and they were changing. And in this whole madness, we changed, we did the tea ceremony, we took too many photos, some would say. Annoyed, because we were in a group of like 15, so there was 8 of us and then like 7 randoms, and we were just hogging all the photo areas.
Yeah, the good spots.
Yeah, because so many variations, man. Boys photo, girls photo, couples photo, all together photo, which you need someone else to take for you.
School photos. But yeah, we were dressed up in all these and we were taking our photos, and then suddenly the time came for us to leave, so we went back, changed, and we left, and then we went into the bamboo forest, and that was when my missus realized she left her Apple Watch in the kimono place. Well, that's what she thought. She wasn't sure. So we checked the live location of it, and it said it was at a tourist center in like the central station of Kyoto. So we could see the location. And for maybe the first hour, it wasn't moving. And we're like, all right, it's chill. We can go back later and get it. And then so we went and saw the monkeys, walked around a bit, and then suddenly about an hour and a half in, the dot started to move.
And then panic stations, because we were like an hour away.
Yeah, because we were like 30, 40 minutes away from that area, and we could see the dot actively moving.
And so then in parallel, Ro really wanted to get us to some sort of boat ride. So Ro was stressed for that.
Yeah, because we had to make the 3 p.m. boat was the last boat ride of the day.
Yeah.
There's all stresses happening around.
Well, we decided, me and my missus made the decision, like, we're going to go back and just try and get the watch. If we have to chase someone down, we'll have to do it. And then I think you guys, out of the goodness of your hearts, decided to come back as well.
Yeah.
So we all came back, and then we were just, while we were in the taxi back, we were just literally tracking the location. And I was in the car with all the girls, and I'm like, well, this is great. If push comes to shove, if it's on for young and old, I think I'm going to have to throw hands here. But I couldn't run because my leg is still fucked. So I was saying to the other girls, you guys have to run and catch him, and I'll do the oosing.
The feeding.
Yeah, the feeding. But we watched it, and suddenly, as we were driving, the dot was moving slowly and slowly away from the tourist center back towards the kimono place. And we're like, oh, well, maybe someone picked up the watch at the kimono place, and out of the goodness of their heart, took it for a ride first to the tourist center,
Yeah.
and then took it back to the kimono place. So we told the cabbie to go back to the kimono place. We went in there, and then we were like, oh, like has someone dropped off an Apple Watch here? And she's like, oh yeah, like it's been here the entire time. So we're like, what the fuck was the location showing?
Oh, so it didn't move.
It didn't move apparently. Apparently it was there the whole time. But when we saw it,
Yeah.
it was at some tourist center.
Because they have, you know, how, like the location has the dot and then it has like a little blue circle
So
around
it
that.
could be anywhere in there.
Yeah, in that vicinity. So maybe you just got like a bit confused around where it was. But all's well that end well.
Yeah.
They got the watch back.
We got the watch.
Do we want to talk about how they tried to sell us a dream of they chased someone down?
Yeah, that-
It was the wildest fucking
I
fight
was thinking
ever.
of adding that part in, but I'm like, nah. It was pathetic. Long story short, listeners, obviously because I was with the girls and we went ahead to get the watch, these guys weren't with us. They asked, oh, did we get it? And I tried to sell them a dream that one of the other girls, Ranuli, chased down this guy,
Yeah. Oh my
slide
God.
tackled him from behind,
Mm.
you know, shirt fronted him and got the watch
Got
back.
the
But
watch.
obviously, no
It was the
one
worst display of storytelling I've seen in my life.
So that was, so that really set the tone. What else happened, Ro?
All right. So that was the missing item segment. Then like on that same day, actually, we were supposed to go to that Fushimi Inari Shrine. It's like the red gate. It's like the
The
thousands of them.
famous. Yeah.
Every man and their dog has like a
You would
Facebook
know.
DP
Yeah.
of that. And so we were supposed to go there, and that's like a gentleman's 20 minutes
30
from
minutes, maybe.
Kyoto, right? Where we're supposed to be. So we're into Kyoto subway, one of the stations there. We see the train. Obviously everything's in Japanese, so it's a little bit disconcerting, but whatever. We're like, we've caught trains before. We know how this works.
You got Google Maps as well,
Yeah,
surely.
Mate, surely you'd be right. So we got on the train. I think it was like 5 stops. So the first 4 stops were matching up to what we had like on Google Maps. It's like, yeah, we're going to stop at this station, this station, this station. Then for some reason, the train has decided to skip our stop. And it's suddenly decided to turn into an all-express train to Osaka, which we were supposed to be going the next day. So then we had to, obviously we couldn't do anything, right? But for 45 minutes past that stop, we went from Kyoto to Osaka, and now we're in Osaka, and we're like, well, what do we do? Do we go out here? Do we like explore Osaka? Do we go back? Because we were supposed to go to Osaka the next day.
Yeah.
And so we ended up catching the wrong train, which magically changed into an express halfway through.
It's train's fault.
Train's fault.
Because it literally went the 4 stops, and then the 5th stop was meant to be the one that we were going to get off at to go see the shrine.
Yeah.
And we got to that station, and it just went straight
and
past.
we just flew by. So
And I'm
the-
like, what? How did it stop at every stop except for the one we needed it to?
So Priyanka was having a look at her phone, and because we didn't have a care in the world. Usually, how it worked is like one person would be navving, and the rest of us would just live in like ignorant bliss while we got escorted off the train, right? So Priyanka's navving, and then she's like having a look at Google Maps, like where we are, and then maybe like 10 minutes after we pass the stop, she like ushers me over, and she's like, "I need to show you something." So I have a look at like her Google Maps, and I'm like, "Oh, like where are we?" And so I see us like traveling, and I see her pin was like 20 minutes the other direction. And then she's like, "Oh, do we tell the others?" I'm like, yeah, we have to tell the others. What do you mean? So we,
How is that something you hide from other people?
I think
We get off the station, Osaka.
yeah, you can't hide it. So we told them, everyone was, to be fair, everyone took it pretty
Had a
well.
laugh.
Yeah, everyone had a laugh. What can you do? You know, these things happen. So that was that. We ended up deciding to go back to the shrine, which is 40 minutes the other way. So we burnt a
An
couple of
hour.
hours
Yeah.
on the train, which is, it is what it is. All right, and then the final group mishap before we headed into the individual mishaps was the day after. So Kyoto just wasn't a good city for us in terms of, things going right. So we have like a very type A friend, and this Japan trip was planned on Excel with, very hard increments of what we're doing when and what time it is and where we're staying at what date, this sort of stuff, right? So think about, you see those like templates on like Etsy or Canva that people make. That's what we were dealing with. And so Kyoto, it was like kind of like a free day. And so, Sen and Branko wanted to go to a shrine. And I don't know, Migs, what did you do that day?
I went to get some duck, mate.
Yeah. You guys wanted to get some like famous duck spot, right? Me and my missus Cindy went to go bike riding. Everyone just, did their own thing that day, knowing that we were leaving for Osaka the next day. And so at maybe 2:00, while we're all having our little, amazing race adventures, the person who booked the hotel, Renuli, she gets a text/call from the hotel saying, "You're supposed to be checking out. It's
I think it was why haven't you checked
you're
out
4
yet?
hours late. Like, what's happening? Like, the cleaners have to be here. You guys, the next, guest staying, this and that." Then, I'm leisurely riding my bike and then I get a like a little vibrate on my leg, and so I look at my phone, and it's a group call. It's like a Japan 24 group call. I'm like, okay, here we go. This can't be good. So I think I joined the call late because I think you guys were already discussing. I kind of got the gist of like everyone was like very somber and solemn. Like, what do we do? You know, people like an hour away. So we obviously like had to go back to the hotel. So everyone from like all the different parts of Kyoto rushed back to the hotel, and I get there first. And so I'm sitting here speaking to the manager who's accosting me and, you know, saying $40 late fee, $40 late fee.
Yeah,
this
it's because I accosted him on the phone before that, dude.
Oh, so you
Because
just
my
pushed on the
missus,
phone.
as Rose said, it was the only phone with you can make calls. So I had to make the call. You know, tail between my legs. Sorry, sir. We made the mistake. My Excel was wrong. How much is fee? Thank God the fee was low, but I assume they cost you in person.
Yes, they costed me in person. They're like, you know, you can't be this, you can't be doing this. It's terrible etiquette, this and that. I'm like, whatever, man, just give me my stuff. So he's like, all right, well, the cleaners are in your rooms currently, and they're just going to bring everything out. And then you guys can do what you need to do here. And I'm like, no dramas, let's do it.
Yeah, initially they were going to put it into another hotel room, which they were going to charge us for.
Oh, is that?
So they were going to give us
Oh.
the equivalent, like rooms for us to stay in, because where I explains like, oh, we're meant to leave tomorrow, right? So they're like, I think they thought we needed accommodation for the night.
Right.
It's like, oh, you know, we'll grab all your stuff and put in twin rooms and we'll charge you for that. And I'm like, buddy,
No.
I don't need this. I've got my accommodation in Osaka sorted, mate. But I had to finagle that. So that's why they chucked you in the lobby.
Yeah. So they sat me down in the lobby, and then they brought out all the stuff. So suitcase, and so like actually, luckily for our room, so we were planning on doing this luggage forwarding. So I'd already like packed most of my stuff beforehand. So when my stuff came down, I was like, oh, no dramas, nothing, like no real. There's like a little bit of a plastic bag with some stuff that we just chucked in. Then I think like Glade, our friend, and his missus, their stuff came through, and they had like one plastic bag. Then Sen comes back, oh, 2 plastic bags. Then Migs' room comes, and it's like 6 plastic bags, like full bin bags. I'm not talking like, you know, your shopping bags. I'm talking like
proper
bin liners, like
Brother,
for industrial size.
I'm going to sort things out the night before you go.
Yeah, no.
So my hotel room was fucking spray and pray everywhere.
Dude, and these 4 guys were like hauling it on their back, like backbreaking work. And then we got all the stuff, whatever. And then we're like on the floor. Honestly, we were causing a bit of a scene, to be fair.
Yeah, they asked us to move to the side.
Yeah, because like all our suitcases were open and everyone was like chucking stuff in.
We took over the lobby, like the whole lobby, and people were checking in at the same time, and it was just a nightmare.
Not a good look, but yeah, I mean, no one lost anything. And to be honest, I'm not mad about it because for $40, I got my room thoroughly cleaned, and everyone, they just, you know, I didn't have to pack. They just took all my stuff and you just shove it in. It was good.
I think Senny got extras. No, you got soap packed or something with your stuff.
Dude, I got so angry because I have a thing where I don't like the feeling that people are going through my stuff. So my whole thing was I'd locked my bag that morning, and I obviously had shit outside of it. So I'm like, fuck, what are they going to do? Are they just going to shove it into Priyanka's bag or some shit? Obviously, when they found out they were just putting it into plastic bag, I'm like, oh, whatever, that's fine. But then they put all our toiletries into one, so my toothbrush was in a bag. But they'd put their soap.
Open soap?
They're open. No, you know how in the room they had like the pump, like the hand
So
sanitizer soap?
the hotel provided pump bottles.
Their own bottle they shoved in my bag with my toothbrush, and it leaked. And so it went all over my toothbrush, my toothpaste. So I pulled it out and it was all sticky everywhere.
Dude, I'm packing like my 7 bags and I just hear Sen raging.
Dude, I was like,
about this soap.
Dude, I got so angry. And I was like to my missus, I looked at her, I'm like, dude, I'm going to get this soap and I'm just going to fucking peg it on the floor here, like pump it all over the floor. And I was literally about to, and she grabbed it out of my hands, like, can you calm down? And I'm like, no, man. Like, firstly, you guys took all the shit out of our room. And secondly, you put your stuff in there and then you ruined my stuff.
No. You can't be too mad about that.
No, I got pretty angry.
They did a fantastic job packing. They even packed my churro donuts, man, which is fair play.
Yeah, because we all got there. And I think you were the last one to get there, Migs, and I got there just after you, Ro. So we all wanted to make sure that all the rooms were checked. So I went and checked my room, and your room was on our floor as well, Migs. So I went and checked our room just to make sure they cleaned up everything. And I called Migs. I'm like, oh, like, do you want me to have a look at your room? He's like, yes. Can you just make sure the one thing? Can you make sure? And I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, it's probably something really important. It's like, open the fridge. And I'm like, okay, a bit weird already. He's like, and make sure my churro donuts are like packed and they haven't thrown them in the bin.
They were class.
And Glade was standing next to me, and I just looked at him. He's like, is this guy serious right now? Is this actually your number one priority?
Churro donuts number 1. How good were they, Migs?
They were unbelievable, man. No, because my passport and my wallet's in my bag, right?
Yeah,
so I'm like, I've got no real valuables here, but as a mark to see, if they've done everything, my little insignificant item, if they've packed that, they've packed everything.
So yeah, I beelined it to your room and just went and checked the fridge only while the poor cleaners were staring at me.
They did a quick job, to be fair.
it was pretty quick.
You guys got there in like 10, I don't know, 20 minutes and the rooms are cleared
Yeah,
out.
it was all-
Spotless.
yeah.
That was good work from the team at, what was it? Mitsui Garden,
Mitsui
Kyoto.
Garden,
Yeah,
Kyoto.
shout out.
Shout out.
My personal mishap. It wasn't a mishap such that it could have been a mishap. We went to Fuji Q on one of the days. And so it was like roller coasters, this and that, hectic. There was one roller coaster or ride, I suppose, where like you're sitting down and then it lifts you up and then it just brings you down at high speed. It's just like a pole that you go up and down. Have you seen this ride?
I just saw the hand gesture.
Yeah.
And that's all I needed to know.
Okay, yeah.
No, I can assume what the ride is.
Yeah, it's like the bunch. Yeah, it's like that. So we're strapped in, and I guess how it works in these Universal Studios and Fuji Q, all these amusement parks in Japan, is that like they kind of lock you in, and then they say, "Can you check it?" And I'm like, "Brother, this is your job. Like, why am I checking it?" So the guys put me in, strapped me in, whatever. And he's moving around. He's like, give it a check. I give it a check. All good. He's walking around, strapping in everyone else. And then I give it a second check. And so how the ride works is like, it's like shoulder straps, essentially like a shoulder thing that you bring down
Over you.
Yeah. And then there's like a little thing at the bottom that clips to it.
Ah, okay, yeah.
I checked the shoulder straps because I checked the bottom clip. That was working fine. Then I checked the shoulder straps and the shoulder straps just went straight back up. And I'm sitting here like, what is going on now? So I'm like then panicking because like he's finished checking everything and the ride's like about to start. Meanwhile, I'm not even strapped in. Like I'm going up and I'm coming down at velocity. And so I look at I look at the shoulder straps. I look at the people next to me, and then I start shouting out, "Bruv, help me! Hands up, hands up!"
Yes,
and then,
the famous Japanese saying, bruv.
No, dude, I was very, very petrified at the time. So like the thing's got no safety gear whatsoever. I'm looking like waving the attendant like, please don't start the ride for the love of God. I'm literally going to die. He then sees me and he like bit of sumimasen, panic station sets in for him. He pauses the ride. He straps me in again. He's like, check. I'm like, please, you check this time. Man, when I checked, it stopped working. Anyway, so we did the ride, but at the top of the ride, that was the most scared I've been for a.
Did you try it again at the top of the ride?
No, dude. I was
Were you
like,
holding on?
dude, I was death gripping because in my head, all I could think of is that when it starts plunging down,
It's just you're gonna go straight up.
straight away. And I was like, oh, do I have the strength to hold on for the 30 seconds or whatever this ride is?
Oh my god.
Oh, no bingo. But all's well that ends well. Thankfully, the second time around it worked okay.
What happened to us at Universal Osaka when we were on the Harry Potter ride? We were all sitting in, strapped in. I think
yeah.
you and Cindy were at the front, and then me and Priyanka were behind you. And you guys strapped in, and I strapped in behind, but I couldn't even sit on the seat itself. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't even sit down.
And this is after for a bit of, Sen and I don't do rides. So leading up to the ride, we had to get hyped into doing it.
A lot of coaxing to get these boys in the ride.
So our mindset already was not
So-
there.
And I immediately didn't fit. So they're like, oh, you need to be right at the front of the ride. And I'm like, I don't want to be at the front. I want to be somewhere at the back. I don't want to be the first one looking down on a big drop or whatever. So they moved me. And then out of nowhere, I was meant to sit next to you. And then out of nowhere, they moved you as well. I'm like, where are you going? And then it turns out Miggs also didn't fit in his seat. So he had to come sit at the front next to me. So we had the two scaredy cats at the front. And then, so they came in and I managed to sit down on this one and they pulled the bar down and you meant to just pull the bar until it clicks. So Manny, they pushed it down, click. Came to me, they pushed it down, no click. And she kept pushing it and there was no click. So I'm like, what's happening? Bro? I gave him a bruv. What's happening? Firstly, I'm at the front, which I don't want to be. And secondly, it doesn't click. And she's like, oh, look, it doesn't matter. Go. And I'm like, what do you mean go,
No,
go?
at first she asked me to can you push it down? I'm like, bruv, what do you mean? So me and this workers, and Sen as well, all trying to push this fucking safety thing down at once.
And full disclosure, so it was raining that day at Universal. So the
Oh
rides
my
were
God.
closed for most of the day. And right at the end, they opened up one of these. So we only waited in line for like 15, 20 minutes for this ride. But it was slowly growing. Like the line was getting bigger and bigger. So I'm pretty sure they saw the big line. They're like, fuck this. Like, if you die, it is what it is. Like, we need to get these people on the ride.
Yeah.
So she's like, just hold on really tight. And then she just sent us on our way. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's not a good introduction for your, first ride.
Yeah, I know.
No good.
That's crazy. I had a personal mishap. Starts similar era. So yeah, Universal Studios, worst day of weather
Yeah.
our whole trip, right? So our whole trip was either sunny or lightest of rains. But then the night before Universal Studios, I checked my weather app. Extreme weather warnings.
Yeah.
Storms brewing.
It's like typhoon warning.
Yeah, yeah, dude. And it's like, there was like 10 warnings. So I'm like, hang on, what's this about? But I booked the tickets. I know the turmoil I had to go through. We were going to go regardless.
We were going to go, even if it was, a tsunami, we were going to go.
Yeah.
So anyways, we went. If you follow us on Instagram, you would have seen a little snippet of how wet the weather was. Anyways, I come home and my phone is absolutely drenched, as were my shoes, my pants, my underwear, my shirt, everything, right? So I get back to the hotel, finally get into some warm clothes. So then I take my phone out of the case and put on like a toilet paper to like let it dry, right? And then in Japan, the hotel rooms are so small. That's something we haven't addressed. I could barely open my luggage in all these rooms, right?
Yep.
So I'm running around this tiny hotel room trying to sort all my evidently open luggage as well. And then I knock my phone off the table and then it hits a corner on the ground right on the back caseless phone. And if you looked at the phone, it looked like a bullet went through the back.
It looked like someone took a pickaxe and
just
like,
stabbed your phone.
You could see the innards of the phone, literally, right? So then it worked for that day. And then we're on our way to Tokyo, me and my missus, and my phone just stopped working on the train. And I'm like, this is not good. Because I am you don't realize how dependent you are on your phone when you travel until it fucking breaks, right? So I didn't know how much money was in my card. I don't know. I couldn't get any bookings. I couldn't double check when bookings were. Couldn't use maps. Japan as well, I couldn't Google Translate.
Yeah.
The number one thing I reckon.
I haven't used Google Translate as much as I had in Japan. I'm taking photos of everything, get it translated in live time. So I had no phone. All right. Thankfully, I was like with my missus and she was like going to help me out. If I was on my own, oh my God, dude, I'd still be in Tokyo, brother.
Yeah, you're in danger.
Right? So then I go to the Apple store, whatever, they get it fixed. I didn't know if I had to buy a new phone or get it replaced, but thankfully the guy told me, if you do all this, if you get it replaced, your travel insurance should cover it. But you know what? However it costs, brother, send it. Fix my phone as long as it gets covered, right? But then the one thing they said to me was, because you're in Japan, we don't have Australian versions of the phones, right? We only have Japanese models.
Makes sense.
Which is fine, fair enough. I'm like, oh, is it the same? So they're like, oh, do you use eSIM or normal SIM? And I'm like, I use a normal SIM. So like, okay, good, because America, they use eSIMs only. And then there's this one nugget they left at the end. After I had agreed to, replace the phone and turned it in, they're like, oh, by the way, here in Japan, due to the laws, whenever you take a photo, if it's on silent or not, it makes a sound. It makes a shutter sound.
Shutter sound.
And I'm like, hey, I didn't sign up to this. Then I get my phone and fuck me, it takes shutter sounds every time you take a photo.
Give us a demonstration.
Thankfully, they said once you hit international waters, once you put a different country SIM in and you're connected to different networks, the shutter sound is gone.
Oh, it's geo-blocked.
It says geo-blocked. So when I showed you guys, when we went to Team Labs, when I finally got my phone back, 2 days later, mind you, I was taking photos of everything. You could hear the sound.
Yeah.
And it was kind of obnoxious.
No, but you said, what's a for mix? Why do they have this feature?
So in Japan, there's a history of, I forgot the Japanese word, but there's a history of nefarious photo and video activity where
there's an English name for it. Called upskirting.
Exactly.
Anyways, history of that. So that's why they had to implement that. But I was fucking shocked when they told me that. I'm like, if I come back to Australia and I have a phone that is blocked from all these fucking sounds, I don't know about that.
Did you not know that beforehand?
No. I literally knew about that after I agreed to this new phone.
I remember reading that on Reddit a few years ago.
That it makes the shutter sound
because of that reason.
But that's
They're all
crazy.
pervy dogs.
That it's so prolific that like Apple has literally had to make a feature that you can't, take photos without the shutter sound going.
That's crazy.
Anyways, I have a new phone. It's all well and good. Works as it should.
But thanks for listening to that long log. That is our Japan trip. And look, it was a good trip. A couple of mishaps, but that's part of the fun of traveling.
That's life.
Alrighty, friends, a break from the Japan content this week. We've got a new game. It's called Urban Myth. I bought a board game from an up shop. Costs about $1. And now we have 1,000 cards that tell us statements. And you have to tell us whether they are urban myths or they are true statements. So we're ready to play the game, boys.
We're not doing all of them.
We're not doing 1,000.
1,000.
We'll get through 1,000 through our entirety of the podcast lifespan.
Fantastic.
Today we're doing 15.
Okay.
All right.
That's good.
Right, the boys will go head to head. They'll lock in an answer, and the winner takes all. First one we have. Flamingos are naturally pink.
They are naturally pink.
They are naturally pink. Is that true or false? Fact or cap?
Yeah, I got an answer for that.
Yeah, I think I know the answer for that as well.
Do you want to disclose the answer potentially?
I think it's a fact.
So I was going to say it's cap.
It is cap.
What do you mean? I've seen them in Africa. They're definitely pink.
You've been to Africa.
Nah, but I've seen the videos, David Attenborough and
Yeah,
whatnot.
he lied to you. No, I
Heard a thing about saturation and contrast.
Wait, sorry. You're telling me they dye the flamingos?
No, I think
No.
they're born a different color, and then I think they're white or something.
How do they become pink? No one's answered me that
I
question.
don't suppose the card tells you.
The card doesn't have these tidbits, unfortunately.
So it just has the answer, doesn't actually
Yes.
have the explanation.
No, can you just quickly look this up, sir?
I will look it up. Okay, what colors are flamingos born? They're born white gray. Takes several years for them to acquire their signature pink color.
Sorry, what was the question?
Flamingos are naturally pink.
They are naturally pink.
I think the question is meant to be, what do they start as? Though?
Oh, that wasn't the question. No, start a new question. I'm not copping that.
All right. Luckily, this card
Hey,
has.
this card has you leads you to believe that they just get the flamingos, chuck them and die, and then throw them out in the wild.
All right, relax, buddy.
I've lost all faith in the game. Question one.
All right, we'll go to the second one on that card. All
Well,
right.
how can I trust anything? I want a fact checker.
So it's because of the food they eat that they get the pink.
Oh
No, yeah, so that's not natural.
what are you talking
So
about?
most of the foods that flamingos across the world feast on are full of beta carotene, a red-orange pigment also known as carotenoids.
So Migs, you're
So
telling me
those carotenoids are absorbed into the liver, and those fats are deposited into their feathers and skin. And after years, it becomes pink.
Yeah, so like if you,
yeah.
as
Only
a grown,
ate oranges.
as a human man, ate rat poison every day, you're gonna turn blue. But are you naturally blue?
Well, what's the other alternative? I starve. That,
We eat normal food.
No, they can eat other food. It says most food. It just so
Alright.
happens a food they stumble across.
I don't like this, but fine. All right, 1-0 Sen.
1-0
There we
set.
go.
All right, next one. There are more obese men in America than women. Than obese women. So there are more obese men in America than
Wow,
obese
that's so
women.
aggressive.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
men,
just to
obese
clar-
women. All right.
Just to clarify,
I'm
gonna
going
say
to say
fact.
false.
it is true.
Yeah.
Okay,
And all the fatties are men.
It's
dude.
misogynistic, this paper. Oh, wait, no, it's the other way around. It's not.
What is the other? There's another word for that.
What?
Like the opposite of misogynistic. Misandrinist or something like that.
I thought that was the lady of the night. Let me look it up. Opposite of misogynistic.
We're just learning this.
Ah, it's beautiful. It's
This
what it's all
segment.
Our
about.
listeners are learning as well. Opposite of misogynistic. You get this right. That's fair, buddy. Misandry.
Misandry is
done.
correct. Thanking
done.
you.
Give him a point for that.
No, we
I know.
won't
I
be
got a
doing that.
point for it. Regardless.
already got the point. That's
yeah,
true.
I don't need the pity points. 1-1.
All right, next one. Identical twins have identical fingerprints.
Nah, it's cap, bro. Everyone's got unique fingerprints. Isn't that the whole thing?
It's a fact.
Sen, you're right. It is a thing, bro.
How could that be a fact?
All right, next one. We're speeding through these. There is no living descendant of William Shakespeare.
That's true. I feel like we would have heard about
Yeah. He would have made it. He would
Billy
have.
Shakespeare. Yeah, if there was, Artemis Shakespeare or something,
Yeah.
I'm sure we would hear about it. So I'm going to say that's true. Did you say there's no living?
No living descendant of William Shakespeare.
Wasn't he gay as well? Nah, double check that. I made that up. I'm going to say it's fact.
That's just blasphemy at this point.
I think it's fact as well.
It is fact. Well done, boys. Next one. The height of the Eiffel Tower changes by as much as 6 inches, depending on the temperature outside.
What do you say, Ro?
I'm going to say it's fact.
Yeah, that is fact.
Yeah.
We've had this question before.
Have we?
Yeah, the metal expands or some shit
Yeah,
in
it's
summer.
the metal. Well done, boys. Next one. Drinking alcohol can warm you up.
I certainly do feel warm.
Yeah, I was gonna
With all the
say.
196s.
Yeah, you start sweating, you get all hot and bothered.
Asian flush, you're getting hot in the face.
Oh, yeah,
So
exactly.
surely that's a fact.
I would say that's fact.
It is a myth.
Oh, what?
What?
And I have no explanation for you. Card
Right.
says it's a myth. It's
But
a
Asian
myth.
flush. How about that?
You-
Are you getting dehydrated? Is that what it is?
Probably. It's
No,
a-
but you're telling me that you've never felt hot in the face?
I have. But is my body temperature as a
Joe,
whole going
you
up?
getting a fever?
No, I'm not. If you sneeze, hiccup, and fart at the same time, you'll create a vacuum in your internal organs that can cause an implosion.
Sneeze, achoo, hiccup, and fart.
I think that's physically impossible.
You'll create a vacuum in your internal organs that can cause an implosion.
I'm 95% sure you can't do all three.
No,
So I'm
I
going to
don't
say
think
it's
so.
cap. I'm going to say this is cap.
You got a Dyson in there, little vacuum. I'm going to say, were you saying it's cap?
Yeah.
I'll say it's fact.
It's cap. Implosion,
on,
bro.
bro.
You
Come
reckon you
on.
can implode
No,
yourself?
I knew it was fake, but I need to catch up to him somehow. All right.
No, fair play.
Down by 2.
John Lennon didn't know how to read music when the Beatles first started performing together.
I'm going to say that's fact.
Yeah, I think that sounds like fact.
It is fact. All right, last few, I'm going to ask Sen to answer first.
What?
Because if he's winning, he can just copy you and win.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, fair play,
I'm
fair
doing
play.
you a solid, mate.
Thanking you.
All right, we have, gentlemen's 7 more.
Oh, no, we got plenty. We got plenty.
Easy,
All
yeah.
right.
All right. The suicide rate goes up
Oh my
during the
God.
holidays.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's true.
I'm going to have to counteract this and go cap.
It is false.
Yes.
Oh,
all right, here we go.
fair
Here we go.
enough.
Down by 1.
All of you can answer whenever you want. Next one. The Ku Klux Klan owns Snapple.
I don't know
You
what
know the
Snapple
drink?
is. No.
It's a drink. It's an American drink.
I respectfully don't think the Ku Klux
Yeah,
Klan owns.
I
But like, what if a member buys a share? Were you saying they're an owner?
Yeah.
No, we're
well,
saying majority
owner.
share. Majority share.
I would have to say cap. I don't know.
It's
to
got to be
honest.
cap.
It is cap.
Yeah.
Obviously.
KKK and Snapple, they reckon.
Alrighty, the next one. The man who discovered the microscope bacteria, protozoa, and spermatozoa had no formal medical or scientific training.
Yeah, this was probably back in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, where any man and their dog could pick up a microscope. So I'm going to say that's probably true.
The man, do we have a name for the man?
Anton van Leeuwenhoek.
Yeah, see, he didn't say Dr. Anton Van. So I'm going to say, yeah, it's cap. Oh, sorry, fact.
Yeah. No, I'm saying it's cap.
It's true.
Come
He
on,
had
think
no
about it.
formal
Back
training.
in the day, man.
Yeah.
Alrighty, next one. An Arizona man was arrested for public nudity when police spotted him chasing an RV down a desert highway. He had stepped out of the vehicle at a rest stop to relieve himself just as his wife pulled away.
Novella.
Why was he nude, though?
Wait,
Because he had his wang out.
But his wife didn't notice that he didn't come back into the car and drove off?
Nope, not at all.
Wait, I'm so confused. That was the fact or cap?
Is
Has this happened before?
is that a true or a false crime?
Oh, a crime.
Has that crime happened?
Yeah, it's got to be a crime.
No. Has it happened? You donkey.
No.
This give me Florida vibes, energy.
Yeah, this.
Arizona, would the good people in Arizona do such a thing?
Yeah, I think they're a bit kooky over
Yeah,
there.
I
as
think
well.
so too.
I think this is true.
I'll go cap.
It's cap.
Yeah. All right.
Silly little novella.
I'm still down by 1.
Yeah.
And how many left?
It's 3 more.
Okay. Now I actually should do what I think rather than
Just go
just
the opposite.
counterbalancing. Yeah, okay.
All right. The Newspaper Association of America named Kmart its retailer of the year 1 day before the company filed for bankruptcy.
I'll go fact.
Yeah, it's plausible. I'll go fact.
Fact. Well done.
Get sent to answer first.
All right. Last 2, Senny, you're answering first. Drinking water in most major cities is so recycled, scientists estimate that it's been through at least 7 human beings before reaching a tap.
I'll say cap. This just sounds like Capanese.
7. So I'm
Or
saying.
maybe in America. I don't know. This is an American game, I assume.
It is.
So you're saying I'm drinking,
Then I'm
I'm
pissing it out.
urinating, and you're drinking, and you're urinating 7 times.
Yeah, no, it's
But
cap.
now you're drinking it.
I'm going to go fact.
What did you go?
Cap.
It's cap.
Ah,
It's a shame.
Sounded like cap.
it is cap. Of course it's cap. Of course it is cap. 7 times. What are they talking about?
All right, last one for the road. You'll catch a cold if you go outside with wet hair.
Oh, mate. Happened to us in Osaka. I would say true.
But it's Capanese,
It's cap.
surely.
It's definitely cap. I'm going
It
to say it's
is
true.
the biggest Capanese, but Senny, well done.
Well done.
You won Urban Myth. Hey there, mates. Whether you're hitting the slopes or cozying up by the fire with a cold one, it's essential to keep your downstairs looking dapper. Don't let your winter warmth turn into a hairy mess down under. Get your hands on Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 and trim with confidence. With our exclusive offer, use code TCB to snag 20% off plus free shipping. Stay groomed and ready for any Aussie adventure this winter with Manscaped. Rowie, this winter, are we still using the Manscaped?
Yeah, look, I actually forgot. Of course we are. In Japan, I forgot my toiletries kit. And one of my key items that I have in the toiletries kit is my razor and my lawnmower. So, right? Lawnmower, whatever. That's neither here nor there. Did a shave beforehand, no dramas. But my facial hair grows quite rapidly. And
Yeah.
I had to use the bloody hotel's razors to get that shave. And I haven't used like a regular razor for a while. Like I've literally only been using that single blade razor. I forgot what it's called.
The plow?
The plow, that's the one. And I got to say, it was it's like, it's going from, industry to agriculture is what it felt like. I felt like I was doing like proper work. Instead of my shaves taking like 5 minutes, it took me like 15 minutes. And that's just the quality that you get with Manscaped.
Yeah.
Use the gear. I'm going to be using look, over winter, I actually want to let the hair grow out a little bit just to feel a bit warm, right? But Manscaped lets you trim multiple sizes as well. So,
do.
You don't need to go bald. You can go halfway.
That is class. That is class. So grab your ghoulies, their new best mate with Manscaped Performance Package 5.0. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code TCB at manscaped.com. That is 20% off and free shipping with the code TCB at manscaped.com. Winter's coming. Make sure the boys are prepared.
Alrighty, we got head-to-head Sydney versus Tokyo. When we spoke about holiday destinations a few months ago, I believe Japan came out number one in our little bracket challenge.
Despite no one having been.
But now that we have been, I feel like we should probably run that one back. But besides that, let's do a quick Tokyo versus Sydney head-to-head. So we got a couple of categories that we want to discuss. We've been back for a couple of days, and I feel like we haven't really properly discussed, what our thoughts on Japan was. So I'd be keen to hear it from you. So we got 5 categories. It's going to be food, transport, people, culture, and late night activities. So we'll start with numero uno, the most important thing, food. Thoughts, boys. Food in Tokyo versus food in Sydney. I mean, we've talked about food in Sydney ad nauseum, so let's maybe focus more on the Tokyo part. And all kinds of food, restaurant, convenience store.
The konbinis.
Hey?
That's what they're called, the konbinis.
Really? I didn't hear
Convenience
that.
stores, mate.
Didn't hear that word once. Did you, Ro?
I'm learning after I traveled there.
Well, there you go. The food, I will say, this for me is so clear. Tokyo for me is so clear to Sydney.
Yeah.
Right. I can just, any time of day, anywhere I go, I can get a top tier meal, right? Around the corner, not even just the TikTok places, the place you see in social media, most places, unreal ramen, unreal, donburi, unreal tonkotsu, whatever, sushi.
Yeah.
And in Tokyo especially, every block there's a million places to go.
Yeah.
So I feel safe in the fact that I can just walk around the corner and get a really good spot. That's me personally.
What about the line? So obviously these restaurants are very small, and a lot of the times we did have to line up for these restaurants. Here in Sydney, I feel most of the time you have to make a reservation, but even the walk-in ones, you're getting in pretty quickly.
But will I say, if you want to go to somewhere that's probably equivalent quality or top tier as like in Tokyo, line up here as well, mate.
I don't think the gap is all that big.
Really?
Respectfully, I don't think the gap is that big.
Okay.
I hear what you're saying, Migs. I genuinely do. Like, there's good restaurants in every corner, and the Japanese do Japanese food pretty well. Shock. Shock.
Pretty well. Not even.
But I will say, like, on average, the Japanese food in Japan is better than the Japanese food in Sydney. Not a hot take. But I will say, like, if you go to good Japanese restaurants in Sydney, they compete with Japanese restaurants.
In terms of food quality, yes, I would agree. But if we factor in price,
that's obviously a main consideration.
Yeah.
Factor in price, like the price to value ratio in Japan is excellent. But when you just, like you said, you just rock up to a random Japanese joint, go around the corner, eat some good Japanese food, I'm not sitting here like, wow, this is like the best Japanese food I've ever eaten in my life. And that's just the truth to you people,
No, it's not. I've felt numerous times these are the greatest meals I've had.
So I was actually going to ask you, on that trip, there was not a single meal where you would say like, all right, this is probably in the top 10 meals I've ever had in my life.
Top 10 meals, there was. The beef. The Wagyu beef was, and it was $30 and it was like a genuinely unbelievable meal.
Yeah.
But for example, ramen, here's something I don't tell you. The salty. It's all salty everywhere.
No, but that's...
No.
Okay.
I'm walking into ramen joint slugs, salty ramen here, salty ramen there. No, 4 times. I went past, even then, when they all left and we were walking around, we were looking for a ramen place, we looked through, salty ramen.
So there's a...
Get it in the bin.
It's a specific type of ramen called salty ramen, which I actually didn't mind.
I liked it.
Oh, the broth I think is made out of like anchovies or something. But,
it's like salty, fishy.
It's like clear soup.
Yeah.
Similar.
No, it's not bad. It's not. It's okay. I didn't like it that much. It's okay, but like obviously coming from Sydney, you're expecting ramen to be like flavored in a certain way. It was not that. Like
Which they had plenty of.
Yeah.
I will add.
But for example, all right, let's talk about specific places. Right, we went to Ichiran 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay. That was excellent ramen.
Unbelievable.
But I will say, Gogyo in Surrey Hills and Chako Ramen competes with it.
Yeah, you're naming the best ramen
Yeah.
in Sydney. Ichiran is a chain. It's
a
like
fast
honestly
food.
like McDonald's,
No,
but for
don't
ramen.
disrespect
No, it
Ichiran
is.
like that.
It is. It's
No, I agree
that,
it's a chain.
It's that common everywhere, and it's
Okay.
24/7, brother.
Our friend Glade, right, had that ramen that you had that you said was the best ramen in your life in Harajuku, and had Ichiran, and said Ichiran was better.
Glade's hot take merchant. Get his words out of his mouth, bro. Never a serious word out of that guy. No, that Harajuku one was top
that
tier.
one was, I still rate that one as probably the best we had. But
But it
Ichiran was
competes.
still.
I'm saying it competes with the Sydney ramens, respectfully.
But I feel like you can go most hubs in the world and be like, the fucking best restaurant,
if you
the
chose-
best of this in the city competes with the local.
But Chako Ramen and Gogyo in Surrey Hills, they're not top tier. You're not paying out
I
the
have to go to
wazoo.
Surrey Hills, brother.
They are
Nah.
pretty much the top tier ramens here in Sydney.
But you're still paying like $20 a ramen, $25 a ramen.
Yeah, but over there was cheap.
It was $10. It was 10, 15
Ichiran
bucks.
was literally $8.
yeah, that's
And it's
pretty
literally
good.
around the corner
And it's 24/7.
to most places.
Yeah.
Speaking of change, what about cocoa? If we're talking about curries, Japanese curries.
Oh yeah, and I will say this. I'm not like I wasn't a massive fan of like Japanese curries here in Sydney, but the Japanese curries overseas they were pretty good.
It was very good.
They were pretty good. Look, I'm not saying it's better. I'm not saying that it's better. I'm just saying that when people come back from Japan, they give you this whole spiel about I've never tasted food like it. I'll tell you the truth right here. You have tasted food like it. You have.
No, okay, you have tasted. I think Ro just has a gripe,
No, I don't have a gripe.
with certain
Hey,
people in his life.
No, people just hype up this
He's
stuff.
not wrong.
No,
'Cause,
no,
okay,
I
he's not-
will. No, on that line of you've never tasted it. Yes, you have tasted it, but I haven't tasted such frequency
Yeah.
I
and
agree.
such
Quality.
quality, such
think-
at such a cheap price.
I think it's that. It's quality at cheap price and it's everywhere. It's not like you have to go to one or two like really good restaurants as you would here in Sydney. It's like almost shop to shop in Japan.
Okay, you're in
Think of-
Japan. Obviously, there's Japanese food. You're gonna
no, but all right, I'll compare to this. Right, when I went to Italy, my personal experience, half the Italian restaurants were poo. I'll be honest with you,
Okay.
right? Because that's where I say Sydney. Most Italian, maybe it's my modern Italian, I don't know, fucking cuisine, but I prefer, for the most part, Sydney Italian restaurants compared to Italian restaurants. That might be fucking heinous. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of room for error in those restaurants. Japan, the room for error was none, I feel. How many times do you go to a restaurant and be like, this is a bad meal?
No, zero.
Exactly.
Zero bad meals.
Whereas when I've been to Europe, all the other places, I've had bad meals everywhere. Right? But I've had good ones, but I've also had bad ones. I think that's also what it is.
Okay, putting the restaurants aside, how about the convenience store food?
Fuck me, dude. This,
Yeah, well, this is-
honestly might be one of the highlights of my trip, right? Every night you go down, legit same block, convenience store, every food there is. You get onigiri, sandwiches, like ramen if you want, actual whole meals like a tonkotsu, for example.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, my missus went to 7-Eleven recently. Shocking realization
Yeah.
how shit it is here.
Yeah. So like just for context, so every morning and pretty much every night before we went back to the hotel, it was a quick trip to either Family Mart, 7-Eleven, Lawson, etc. And it was just fill your boots with any kind of goodies you felt like.
Get a
You know,
smoothie, bro. The
Yeah.
cup has fresh fruit. They
drinks,
blend it for you.
food, sweets like lollies, you name it. And it
Fried
was
chook.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the
fellas,
fried
come
chook.
on. The famachiki, sir. Come on.
It was like $1.40, maybe even less, for one of the greatest pieces of fried chook, like up there with any of the best fried chook here in Sydney, for a fraction of the price. And to your point, here in 7-Eleven, if you wanted like a meal, so like a fucking, what's a meal you're gonna get?
Like a BLT sandwich or
or
something.
like a meat pie and
Yeah.
like a drink, that's going to cost you upwards of $10-12. In Japan, that same meal or even better quality meal is probably what, $3, $4, $5?
I was going back to the hotel room with literal hauls, bro. I had like shopping bags full of just stuff. $15 or something.
Yeah.
Morning,
Wow.
onigiri, egg sandwich, fried chicken,
Coffee.
drink, bang. Every morning, that was my brekkie.
Yeah.
Like late night snack. Again, fried chicken.
Third dinner.
Third dinner. Yeah. True. To be fair, the food in Japan was so good, we had like dinner 3 times. Most nights.
Yeah, hang on.
No, that's because I just wanted to eat.
Actually, yeah. Can we? Have you guys been hungry the last few days? I've been getting ravenous around 11 and 12
Yeah,
o'clock
dude,
every
that's
night.
a problem. Late night, I've been getting hungry.
Dude, the day after we landed, we had dinner at a normal time with my family, and then at 11 o'clock, I went and made some migo ring because I was still hungry because my body was trained so much that it knew that there was another meal coming.
Yeah, my body's used to the late dinners.
Yeah, no, the convenience stores, top tier.
Lifesaver.
And
So
like-
many times as well.
No, and it's also the variety. Like the desserts, I had mochi donuts from there. I had pastries. I had
Churro
buns.
donuts.
Yeah.
Was that from the? Oh, I didn't.
It was. It was.
Convenience stores, we know Japan's ahead. What about the markets? Let's do a quick little drive-by on the markets.
Markets, all right. The Tsukiji fish markets in Tokyo. We did a drive-by there. Sashimi, again, fresh compared to the Sydney fish market. I would say, maybe level. Japan a bit ahead, but similar vibes.
That's a hot take.
I don't think it is.
What's hot about it?
I would say the Japanese ones were more fresh.
I don't know about that,
You
dude.
reckon?
I don't know.
They were good. They were both good. They're both excellent, high quality. But it's not levels above.
Having been to Sydney Fish Market, was it worth the half-day commit to go elsewhere for that fish market?
No, look, I'm talking straight food. I'm talking quality of produce. Not talking this, I'm traveling,
just food
60
versus
minutes. Yes, food versus
No, that's
food.
what I'm talking about. What was the quality good enough for you to travel to want to go
To
there?
the Sydney fish market?
No, the Japanese.
Oh,
one.
yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, because I had the best food I had, potentially.
The Wagyu
The Wagyu
skewers.
skewer.
famous fish market food.
Yeah.
So good that we put it on the story.
And had it twice. We had two $40 Wagyu skewers from two different places.
And I do not regret any part of it.
No regrets. We tried whale, actually.
I didn't.
Oh, so you didn't. That is
Well, I
true.
took the photo. I walked past the first.
Hang on.
And I'm like, anyone interested in whale? And I just kind of put in the group chat. And then Migs, within a couple of minutes, was like, yeah, man, I'm keen. And I'm like, oh, I was actually kind of joking. I don't want to try it.
Yeah.
But then you guys all, I walked away. I was walking around. And then you guys all tried it. And I caught up with you guys like minutes after you tried the whale. And I'm like, oh, well, how was it? And you guys are like, you got to try it. It was so good. Rose like, dude, you have to do it. Go get it right now. And I'm like, oh, shit, maybe. And then you guys walked out of like the restaurant you were in. And then I looked at Migs and I'm like, be honest with me, was it good? And he's like, mate, it was the shittest thing I've had in my life. I literally spat it out. And I'm like, thank you. One man was honest with me.
I had to bevo that shit, dude. It was yuck, dude.
Mainly because it was like also like 10 or 15 bucks. And I'm like, you were like, out of good faith, I couldn't make you pay that much for something you're not going to eat.
Oh, the taste, I will say, it's like it's fishy, but it's
You reckon?
But it's like it's gamey as well.
gamey.
It's gamey fish is how I would describe whale.
It's like the worst parts of different meats.
Yeah. It actually feels like a made up food.
So
Like,
someone explain to me why whale is so popular. I have no idea.
no clue. Maybe.
So in general, what are we saying? Food across the board. Ro seems to be.
No, I'm saying Japan, but I just want to give everyone a little PSA, yeah? Well, I've just been hearing propaganda out the wazoo.
I reckon it comes from mostly the Americans, and maybe I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that their Japanese food is probably more Americanized and not really traditional. Whereas here in Sydney and Melbourne, even we're getting proper,
getting good
authentic
food, man.
Japanese food. So maybe for us, it's not that much better, but for the Americans who make the most noise online, it's miles better for them.
I'm craving an Ichiran, and I think that says everything.
All right, Japan wins food.
All right, next category is going to be transport, and I'm talking all kinds, whether it be trains, buses, Shinkansens, taxis, etc., etc. Boys, what do we think?
Look, we all caught the train, but Sen, did you catch the bus?
We caught, what did we get in Hiroshima? It was like
No, that was a tram.
a tram. So no.
So it wasn't
Actually,
similar to the bus we caught.
No,
right?
it was not the bus that we
No,
caught.
we caught a bus that last day in Tokyo when we went from the Mario Kart to the shrine.
We did. We
so I
caught
caught
a
one bus. I didn't catch
Similar?
a bus.
Similar, same bus.
It felt like a Hills bus.
No, but how streamlined is it? The fact that you get on at the back and then you get off at the front, and at the front you got to pay.
Wait,
Yeah.
what? I
Yeah.
had the opposite experience there.
Oh, maybe it was a different bus. Okay, maybe different routes
You
have
tell me
different
your one
things.
then.
It was that.
You get on at the back door.
So at the bus stop, there's two clear. You know how they mark out where you have to queue.
Yep.
There's two places you have to queue: the front and the back.
Yep.
Thankfully, Ro and I, my missus, we were getting on a bus stop that was busy
Yeah.
because if there was no one there, we would have broken all sort
Straight
of
to the front.
yeah.
broken all sort of Japanese custom, dude. So you get on at the back and you get off at the front. So first of all, there's that
Goes against the word of God, if you ask me.
Yeah.
clear direct flow of traffic is what I'm trying to get at. And then we got on the bus, and then we're like, did anyone like hop on? Did anyone buy a ticket? And all of us are like, nah, dude,
Nope.
we haven't. And then Rosie like, oh, here we go, free bus trip, boys. And then we nearly get to the end of our stop, and I hear on the intercom like, please make sure you have correct change. No change is given. And I'm like, oh, what's this about? And we get to the front, and then there's a little gate, I think, at the front, and there's a little automatic coin
Counter
thing.
You just drop it in.
So you drop your coins in, and once you put enough,
Let's
it
go.
opens up, and you get out, and you say arigato to the bus driver, and you're on your way. Thoughts on that bus system, bro?
That seems very inefficient. So-
I hate that.
yeah.
Not because of the system. I think the system's fine. But the coin counter, you have to have exact change. There's no change given.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah. So like, if I have a 1,000 yen note on me,
Ro only had a 10,000 on him.
yeah, I had to get mine to pay. So the Japanese bus system ate 50 yen off you.
So wait, quickly for the listeners, 10,000 yen is 100 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
For a bus trip was probably what? $2?
$2, yeah, max. I think the system is good. I really like the system that like people get on one door, go out the other. Because like, how many times on the hills buses and stuff?
Mate, you're fighting people.
Sometimes the driver decides to open the back door and suddenly people who have waited less time than you have prime seats.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, it's a nightmare.
But it makes sense why it's no change given. Because imagine how long it would take to get off a bus if every single person is getting change.
Yeah, but then, for example, our bus that we went on was a Suica tap on, tap off situation.
Yeah, which makes more. Well, no, it wasn't a tap off.
Yeah, it's just tap on.
Well, that one we got on the front of the bus. We tapped on, and then when we exited the bus, I'm like, "Where's the tap off?" And there was no tap off, and we got off at the back.
Yeah, because it's one fare, mate. No matter how far you go.
I don't know
one
if I
fare.
like that. I like the pay as you go here in Sydney.
Yeah.
Tax system.
Yeah, exactly. So that buses. What about the trains?
I'm again, look, not to say, okay, I'm going to tell everyone what I feel. I love Japan, right? Japan was a great destination.
There we go.
But
the train system is horrendously inefficient.
I agree.
And here I am hearing, yeah, it was on time. Yeah, it was on time. Mate, that's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Okay? Yes, they had a very good system. If the train's coming at 10:37, it arrives at 10:36 and leaves at 10:37.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. But to go from like Tokyo to Ginza, like a 6 or 7 kilometer journey, it's taking you upwards of 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how is this happening?
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Sydney trains is better than the Tokyo train system.
that's a hot take.
So, for example, Rose example there, Tokyo to Ginza, you have to get off somewhere else
like
in the middle.
Yeah, Shinjuku or Shibuya to Ginza. Maybe.
Yeah. And you have to get off. And so, for example, you might get off at a station in the middle and you have to get out and change lines to another line that's owned by a different company. So you actually have to leave the station, walk to another, like you might leave the JR lines to go to the other lines.
Is that why? It's a different company.
Yeah, so the JR lines, all the JY, JO, they're all owned by JR. It's like the Japanese rail. And then there's like privately owned. So like Ginza, anything with like a G with one letter and then like a circle around it, that's a different set of lines owned by different operators.
Little rat
so,
bastards.
so that's why when we had the Suica cards, we were able to use it across the different systems. But for example, when Priyanka forgot to tap off at one of the lines, that line was operated by a different company. So when we went to the other place, they couldn't fix the issue because that was a whole different company. So it didn't. It's like, for example, if you wanted to go from Parramatta to Central, but you have to get off at Strathfield Station, tap off, and then walk another 5 minutes to a whole other set of rail lines owned by, I don't know, Rupert Murdoch or Fox or some shit, and you have to tap on again there to go to Central. So in that regard, yes, they come on time, they're clean, everyone's very polite, you know where to line up, you know where to get on, everyone's very civil. But in terms of actually, and nothing's in English, it's all in Japanese, which I get. It's Japan. Don't get me wrong.
That is the biggest you problem, bro.
That's a massive you problem.
That's the you problem of all.
But it's such a handbrake. Like you have to get, like it's not changing. Go from platform 2 to platform 6. No, you get out, walk 5 minutes, find a whole other set of lines that you have to get into. Highly inefficient.
Let's talk about Shinjuku Station.
Oh my lord,
the labyrinth that is that Shinjuku Station.
I actually didn't get lost in there, but I know you definitely did, Manu.
I got lost once because we always went to the same platform. So we memorized that.
Yeah,
right?
so I never got lost.
But then one day me and my missus explored Shinjuku and we ended up some different side of the station. So yeah, we got lost. We're on a different level. There's like 7 levels and like you have to go it was a nightmare.
If you go into the wrong entrance, like let's say Google Maps tells you to go into entrance 24 and you go into entrance 15, that's like literally a 15-minute detour navigating this like maze underground. Yeah. It's difficult. I don't know if that counts as part of the transport, but in saying that, look, I agree with Sen completely in the fact that it's super inefficient, but I will say Japan is, like Tokyo at least, is extremely connected. So like despite the fact that it takes 40 minutes to go, like, literally it's like an 8-minute cab ride, like a 45-minute train ride. But I will
is
say
that the
it's connected.
downfall of it being connected because it stops everywhere?
Yeah.
So to be able to get to certain stops, that's why it's so like intricate.
Yeah.
Rather than like there's only 5 stops and then you have to get up this up and walk 20
That's
minutes.
The thing.
Yeah.
They don't have express trains. Like they stop at every single stop. We're here. If you wanted to go from Para to Strathfield, right? You're skipping all the stinky Lickham, Auburn's, Granvilles of the world, and it's going just one stop. Like it's express.
Yeah, but you're comparing Tokyo CBD to now
I agree.
Broad City. You got to
Greater
compare Sydney CBD, which is the light rail, which is slow as shit.
Yeah.
To get from Circular Quay to Central, that's like 20 minutes.
That's what I will say. Like that's when I was thinking about this, I had a gripe with the Japanese system, but I'm saying like, yeah, if you go Shinjuku to I don't know, somewhere else, right? Or Shibuya to somewhere else. That's like going from, Town Hall to like Bondi. And if you want to do that, there are no real options for you in Sydney.
That's true. Okay, so that's the subway. What about the Shinkansen?
The
bullet trains?
Shinkansen.
Oh, we forgot to talk about this mishap. The multitude of mishaps with the Shinkansen.
I made sure to keep it into this part. So the Shinkansen, as a concept, the bullet train.
Love it.
Wow.
Great idea.
Wow.
What was it? Kyoto to Osaka, 12 minutes.
Beautiful.
Whereas our mishap journey was an hour. Wow.
Because we were on the normal trains versus so the bullet train goes up to what? 300 kilometers
plus,
in an
I reckon,
hour.
Yeah.
So I think Osaka to Tokyo was a 2.5 hour trip, but it's like 500 kilometers or something like that.
Speedy.
Very speedy. But the biggest problem that I found, and Ro, you probably agree, was the ticketing. You needed, you buy a ticket here in Sydney. Well, they don't have paper tickets, but you would, logic says, I just need one ticket. I put the ticket into the machine. You let me through. For whatever godforsaken reason and this is in the things you should know before you go to Japan. For the Shinkansen, you need 2 tickets.
Sometimes.
Sometimes
you just need one.
And the worst was they spit out 3 tickets.
Yeah.
One of them is a receipt.
Yeah.
Receipt.
So you don't know the 2 or the 1.
So there was multiple times where we were catching the Shinkansen. I think every single time, except for that last one when we came back to Tokyo, we fucked up the amount of tickets we needed to go into the machine.
Yeah.
And it just came to the point where, and this is my MVP, the gates at the counters, like you put your tickets in, and then if it's the wrong ticket, little flimsy rubber gates come out that are at my shins. Like, bro, who's that stopping?
No, you just Wreck-It Ralph straight through it. Yeah. We, hand up, we didn't pay for a lot of train rides in Japan. Not because we didn't want to. Yeah. Because the cars just weren't working.
Yeah.
And the little gates, they're not like what is City
it's
Rail
not like
gates.
Sydney where it's like proper
where they hold you back. They're like rubber gates which are movable very easily.
Yeah, like the Sydney one's like full shut in. Like you could hurt yourself if
they're
you're
like
trying.
hard plastic.
These
You can't
ones
walk
just
through.
Flimsy, just a little woo, just comes in. It's like a little barn door at an old-time saloon in like country western.
You just go straight
You
through
just
those
push
bad
straight
boys.
through. Like, brother, I'm going, and they don't bother stopping you either. So there's so many times where we just fucked up, but we just powered on through.
You had to go through. But I think that's just the Shinkansen's a problem because we didn't know Japanese. I think if you understood, you'd probably understood that there's a rhyme or reason to it. But from an outside perspective, it was just extremely confusing. Like we're getting 2 tickets, we're sliding them through. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and we don't know why. But the fact is, I love the bullet trains. The fact is that they had the overhead compartments for your luggage.
Beautiful.
You have that luggage forwarding system, which is like super handy, right? But I don't even think you need it.
No.
Because there's just like so much space. One downside on the trains themselves, not the Shinkansens, I don't know, this crowded all the time. We were standing for in Japan, I think I stood for 95% of my life.
In various lines.
Yeah.
In the train.
Just constant standing.
Standing.
Is that why when we all went to get full body massages, you got reflexology for an hour just on your foot?
Only.
My final gripe with the transport is the taxis.
Oh, yeah.
So taxis in Japan are fucking expensive. I feel like most of my money that I spent was on taxi. I mean, in transport in general, to be honest. But yeah, taxis was a large portion of it. And my biggest problem is there was one day, where we had to go meet up with these guys. It was an 8-kilometer ride. Said 45 minutes by car.
Yeah.
And I did while we were in the taxi, I did a quick comparison. So my house, for example, to Balcombe Hills, around 8 kilometers, 15 minutes. How? And I think the problem is it's just the amount of traffic lights. Like you get stopped at a traffic light every 30 meters in Tokyo.
Fast and Furious, little Tokyo drift. I was not seeing any drifting. I was not seeing our speedometer go above literally 40 kilometers an hour. That's not a joke. So,
speaking of that, just very quick aside. So I had to drive in Japan for a bit. On the highway, the limit was 60 on a fucking motorway. But then Manu beautifully looked up that you can go up to 40 kilometers over the limit and not get fined. So really, the limit was 100, but everywhere advertised, it said 60.
Yeah.
Anyway, aside.
I was going to talk about I think driving around in Japan, no good.
No good.
8 kilometers, 45 minutes, what's doing there? But also the prices for the taxis were pretty expensive as well.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a Tokyo thing. I feel like Kyoto, Osaka wasn't as expensive.
Maybe.
Yeah? Maybe not. Maybe.
But yeah, because I realized when we went back to Tokyo the second time, they were out the wazoo expensive, bro.
So expensive.
Disgustingly expensive.
We're going through our Beam group. I'm just chucking $60 cab for a 10-minute ride, $50 for a 5-minute ride.
One of these taxis, he didn't charge himself.
Yeah. Oh, that
so
was
it was him,
me.
his missus, me, and my missus, and then we saw it was just 3 people charged, brother.
3.
That's how expensive they were.
Dude, when you sent me that message, I couldn't clock what I saw, right? So I thought I forgot to add you to that beam. And I was like, oh, respect for not scabbing a free taxi.
No,
In
bro.
reality, I had taken it. Yeah. No
They
good.
were expensive. Convenient, but there were a lot of taxis. Easy to get one, but very expensive.
So what are we saying? Transport in general.
I think Sydney's simpler.
Yeah.
And for the destinations that I go in Sydney, it's quicker.
If I was a Japanese fella coming to Sydney, would I have the same experience we had in Japan, you reckon?
No.
it'd be easier.
I think it is a lot more connected, but I will say the one thing that Japan has is the bullet trains.
the bullet trains.
Imagine
yeah.
a Sydney to Melbourne bullet.
Oh,
yeah.
you get there in 3 hours. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
Beautiful. But I think like for the reasons that you mentioned, Sen, I think you put forward a very strong case. The fact that they are differently owned operators. 1-1 Sydney. Sydney gets the
Sydney.
transport.
All right. Third category I want to talk about is, and maybe this is probably the heart and soul of a city, really, is its people. So the people in Tokyo versus the people in Sydney. For me, this is the easiest one that we've had so far.
Yeah.
This is a clear winner.
Don't have to think about this one.
So maybe we can go through this very quickly. But for me, I'm saying Tokyo people,
Yeah, I'm saying Tokyo people.
Sorry.
I'm saying
Japanese people, just in general, were unbelievably nice, super nice.
Without question, mate.
Dude, the language barrier was, yes, definitely a hindrance, but they tried as well. Like so many times, they already had this app. I don't know if you guys saw it. We obviously use Google Translate. They had their own app where they just quickly whispered into their phone quickly, and it just
Was that on Google Translate?
It wasn't good. It was like a green one. I don't know if you guys saw it.
I saw it. I was gonna say more like they didn't really speak a lot of English, but they were just so like nice, apologetic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
culture.
like,
There was top 10 respect moments
Oh.
constantly.
I was gonna say like it's a culture that's literally built upon respect.
Every time you walk in, they greet you and they bow.
Yeah.
Every time you leave the building, they bow.
bowing.
Yeah.
Did you notice in the train stations whenever one of the workers walk through, they bow to the carriage before they leave?
Oh, do they?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Did you feel when you got back to Sydney? Did you feel like dropping in a bit of a sumimasen every now and then?
Dude,
like, I just stopped
I had
myself.
to stop
yeah.
myself from saying arigato at the shop the other day.
Yeah.
When the guy gave me my thing, I was about to say arigato. Oh wait, shit, no, thank
Dude,
you.
No, what I've been doing is I've been bowing. No, like a little head nod. Like so when you in Japan, like if you get something, you use
Yeah,
two
you-
hands,
Yep.
and you do a little bow. I'm still doing the little bow, not the
bow.
big boy like
No, but yeah,
full body bows.
No, there's like so many behaviors I had to unlearn
Yeah,
because you're not
yeah.
getting it in return.
But
Like,
it was so strange. Like I forgot where I went. I went to a shop and I bought something, and the guy like he picked it up and like I'm like, oh, give me my stuff, and he like brought it himself and like marched me out the door himself.
yeah.
And
that happened to me
and
as
then
well.
sent me on my way, and then I picked it up, and then I bowed, then he bowed, and then I bowed again, then he bowed. And, like it would have just kept going in perpetuity until one of us decided to stop. But like that, you don't get that kind of service here in Sydney.
Do you remember the Fuji? We were like leaving the Fuji on the bus to go to like from the accommodation to the city.
That was kind of cult like.
Yeah, that was a bit cool. So we had like a number of lovely Japanese women waving to us, and they walked out with us. They escorted us on the bus, and they were just waving on the bus. Except they didn't stop waving
Yeah.
until we were out of like eyesight.
Yeah.
So like it was like maybe a couple of turns, so you saw them every now and then, and so they're waving for like a gentleman's 2 or 3 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes.
just constantly
non-stop
going
waving.
at it.
Two things from that. Firstly, they're so polite that these Japanese women, probably like half our size, they would take our bags off us.
I felt so bad for
Me
that.
and you,
Yeah.
big boys, they're
Yeah.
trying to take our. I'm like, this
Like,
is
get away.
No,
give me
this
that.
is
Yeah.
fucking 30 kilos of like Kit Kats, brother. Don't
Yeah.
take that.
Yeah.
And secondly, they do that waving thing at the airport.
Oh, really?
When I didn't see it, but when your plane flies off, the people on the ground are like bowing to you and like waving you off.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't
they
see
did that at the Universal Studios and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
like
yeah,
at FGQ and Universal Studios, you'd get on the ride and they would like wave you off.
Oh,
and, like,
dude, I haven't waved so much as I did at Universal Studios.
yeah, a lot of waves.
Every worker, every ride person just wave. Two-handed
Oh,
waves
yeah,
or less.
dude.
Yeah, the workers at Universal. Guy, okay, you guys need to go to the Universal Osaka. Every single worker there, it's the two-hand wave.
double wave.
I
they're
love
always
the
like-
two-hand wave.
I forgot they were saying sumimasen, and they're always just they're giving you the full double barrel wave.
Yeah.
And so I would that whole day. You're right. My arms were getting tired. I was just waving back at everyone.
Yeah.
It lifted my spirits
That was
Yeah,
good.
on a cold, rainy day.
I don't think I met a single rude.
No, not one.
Even when they were kicking us out of the hotel, they were super nice
Yeah,
about
a
it.
lot of respect, a lot of arigato gozaimasu, like a lot of this. I don't know.
And then we compare it to here.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what I was saying. When I was driving that day, like I wanted to overtake people, but it felt and no one honks.
Nah, zero.
I think I heard 1 or 2 honks in my entire time in Japan in 2 weeks. Whereas I reckon the other day already I felt like 5 or 6 in one hour of driving.
It's every man for themselves here.
But they're so respectful for everything. It's unbelievable. So what we're saying, people, it's got to be. Tokyo.
Oh, without a doubt. I quickly, you guys flew to Sydney. I went to Perth. And I got off the plane in Perth and I was walking down the street to my Airbnb to get some, after my Airbnb to get some like coffee or something like that. And it was 4 of us. And we were being a bit of a nuisance. We were like kind of not really aligned. But straight away, this bloke like comes, walks behind us and just yells, "One line!" and then walks out. Yeah. Because like we were blocking his way. And so I was a real culture shock, from the respect moments in Japan.
In Japan, you're getting 5 bows, 10 sumimasens.
Yeah.
And even still, if you don't move, it's still fine.
All right. Japanese people, Tokyo people, clear.
All right. So the next category is culture. So the culture in Tokyo versus the culture in Sydney. And I know, listeners, I know what you're thinking already. What's the culture here in Sydney? It's a great question, really.
I'd love to know.
I'd love to know as well. If you guys know, message us and let us know. But the culture in Tokyo, what do we think?
It was beautiful. There was shrines in every city. We went and visited like some temples. You'd get some fortunes. I don't know. There was a lot of culture. I felt connected with the Japanese culture. I would say
I had a pretty good run with all my fortunes I had at all the shrines. And I'll touch wood before I say this. But so you pay 100 yen and then you just randomly pull out a fortune from a box and then you read it. I didn't get anything lower than a very good fortune.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was one that we went to in Hiroshima where it was... I don't know what their spectrum was, but it went from there was somewhat good, very good, excellent to I think it was the top was like the best or something.
Yeah, it's like our tier list, man.
Goat tier.
Look, the culture was excellent. We did like a little tea ceremony with the kimonos and stuff. Like that was delightful. Oh, no complaints.
I like that in Tokyo, especially every neighborhood had its own feel to it. I feel like Shinjuku was like just so in your face. I remember because that was the first place we went to when we got to Tokyo. And I got to tell you, that was a culture shock for me. That was an assault on the senses.
Yeah, I remember we were walking through Sydney and we said to each other, my senses are overwhelmed.
Dude,
sensory overload.
It's loud. There's like so many bright lights. There's so many people. And then you go somewhere else in, Akibara, for example. It's a lot more traditional. But
there's gaming districts, animes, plastered, this and that, arcades, all this sort of stuff.
And then you go to Asakusa, which is way more traditional. They have like the shrines there. It's more lower key, less people, more quieter. So like literally these places are only 5-10 minutes apart, but they're all very distinct.
As opposed to Sydney.
Well, maybe in Sydney they're also distinct. You Western Sydney.
Yeah, but then
you got a Pendle Hill.
But they're divided by your ethnic groups.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I guess it's hard to do that in Japan, given it's homogenous.
So what are we saying? Culture? I was thinking culture more like a bit more like spiritual. Shrines, temples, all this sort of stuff. Not like vibes.
And also just customs, traditions, all that. So like lining up culture, that's part of the culture. The politeness we talked about in the last bit, also culture.
I mean, the lining up can go to the bin, to be honest. I don't care for the lines.
Nah, I rate it.
There was like...
Because there's rhyme and reason. That's what I like. You line up, it's a meritocracy. You get there, earlier you get there, the more you hear. Whereas here I feel it's a bit more push and shove. There's a bit more like every man for themselves. Some people don't respect if you were there first.
That is true.
Oh, I have a story on that. So just the other day I was coming back home from something and we were lining up to get a taxi. And
this is Sydney.
Sydney, yeah. So this was in Darling Harbour and it was pissing down with rain. So everyone was like ravenous to get a taxi. And it was a massive line and we had waited in line maybe 20, 25 minutes and we pretty much got to the front. This guy comes out of nowhere. This guy was standing in front of us, and then this other guy comes out of nowhere. He's like, "Oh, Jerry, mate, how's it been?" And he stands pretty much right in front of us, and he scabs a taxi before us. You would not get that in Japan.
Doesn't fly in Japan.
No.
There's a couple of customs, like a lot of signs will say don't, like if you have friends, they can't really join the line with you. Like they have to wait to the back of the line.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
Ah.
Yeah. We were breaking that custom quite heavily, I will say. and with 8 of us as well, there'll be like 2 people on the line. The rest of us will be getting 196s from 7-Eleven. And then we'd just join them, making their wait go from like 30 minutes to like 50 minutes. To be fair, I think, Sydney culture is all right. It's fine. Neither here nor there. But Japanese is top tier, especially in Tokyo.
The stuff like the coming back from the respect, like there's no bins, but there's no littering there either. Like I didn't see any kind of I didn't see a single person throw their rubbish on the floor.
Yeah, imagine Sydney CBD get rid of the bins.
Mate, it's
rubbish is all over the shop.
turning into a tip
tomorrow. Remember we were at the soccer game?
Yeah.
And Sydney spilled popcorn down the other people's seats.
And what was your advice, Ro, before the game finished?
No, my advice was just leave it. So basically what happened was she spilled the popcorn. onto our things.
Onto your stuff. Yeah.
Right, onto our stuff. And I was like, just kick it down, just kick it down.
To the lower row.
So
the
both of
lower
you
row.
kicked the popcorn down
get
into
rid of
the
it.
people sitting below us.
Yeah. And then at the end of the game, there was this elderly woman who was sitting in front of us, diehard, Tokyo FC fan or whatever. And then she looks around at the rubbish, sees there's popcorn there, and then starts picking it up
With her bare hand.
with her bare hands. And
But
then,
not in a looking at us, judging us
she
way.
no.
Like they would do here in Sydney, give you a little mouth and a side eye.
Yeah.
He's doing it out of the pure respect of the stadium.
It was her
Exactly.
duty,
Yeah.
to clean it.
And then Cindy got down on her hands and knees. Miggs got down on his hands and knees.
Ro was kicking more popcorn.
I was, mate, giving you a solid, taking a video and shucking more, mate. Pick this up, lad.
Again.
By far.
By far.
Okay. So the final category, so far it's 3-1 to Tokyo. And even that one.
That one was a gimme.
Yeah, we felt sorry for Sydney. So that final category that I want to discuss is nightlife.
Oh, wow.
Nightlife. Here we go.
Sydney nightlife, boys. Let's start with that.
I mean, no, we've been over this again,
Ad nauseam.
time and time again. Sydney has no nightlife.
No.
The streets are dead.
And not even just going out clubbing or bars. I mean, even stuff like shops or, going to just activities to do at night.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist.
Nothing. We rock up in the city Friday night in Sydney, dead. No one there. We go rock up Friday night. I think we landed on Friday night.
We did.
Shinjuku, popping off. We were in the red light district, so people were trying to hand us flyers to go to, devious,
clubs.
strip clubs and other nefarious
Activities.
venues. And then we went to the karaoke bars. They're popping off. These izakayas, small little bars, beautiful. I don't know. It just felt lively. It felt like the city was alive. Maybe even too much. It was too many people. Some might say. But just the fact that you can see people about. Oh, actually, one thing about we saw all these Japanese workers blasted off their faces in suits and briefcases and stuff like that.
Japan has a serious alcohol problem.
Massive alcohol. But when you're getting 196s for $2,
Yeah.
that are 4.5 standard drinks we calculated.
It's unbelievable. But so what happens apparently is you go Friday work drinks apparently are mandatory. You have to go. And then you have to stay there for as long as your boss stays there. So you have to stay until your boss has had enough drinking. And if your boss's glass is empty, you have to fill theirs up and then fill yours up and keep drinking.
It's just drink for drink.
It's basically drink for drink.
Hours on end with your boss.
Yeah. So remember that one night we came out of Ichiran and there was a guy literally licking the pavement outside of it.
Yeah,
It was 3 a.m. and this guy was passed the fuck out.
Yeah, just in his suit and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you see before we went into that Ichiran, he chunned it. We saw him.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see him before.
Oh, you got in early. We saw him chunder.
Yeah, I saw him chunder.
He was pink.
Oh, okay.
Just
No
FYI.
Ew.
But yeah, so if we talk about drinks, right? In Sydney, you want to have a night out, that's costing you upwards of $100.
Yeah, you need to bring the wallet.
You need
You also have to start at a gentleman's 7 or 8 so you can have the whole night.
exactly
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So you're dropping $10 for a GNT, $15 to $20 for a cocktail,
Yeah.
$12 for a beer.
Schooner, yeah.
Yeah, that's the price that we're talking. We go to 7-Eleven. We look at the lovely assortment of pre-mixed drinks, whether 196s, whether something else. I'm seeing volumes of liquor
Yeah.
for under $5.
Yeah.
And that's just at the 7-Eleven. Then you go to the bars, man, I'm paying $3. Dude, whiskey was cheaper than a beer.
Yeah.
We're smashing highballs non-stop for literally $3 or $4. Hey, beautiful.
Dude.
You're having the time of your life.
I think I saw a price. I bought a bottle of Roku gin for $30. I saw the price here in Sydney is $70 for the same bottle.
Yeah, I don't know how these guys make any money, these alcohol companies.
Yeah, that was. Remember
Yeah.
where were we? We spent a whole train trip. You trying to figure out to me
Trying to figure out the margins on
The
the
business
196s.
model,
how
yeah.
Suntory's making money.
Can you explain to me how it's literally what's a can? 375 mils.
Yeah,
They're selling it for $1.50.
$1.50.
Where? When? What? And the aluminium is going to cost 70 cents. The drink
labor.
inside, the labor. Where are they making their money? I'll never know.
I mean, so I think that same bottle of 196, same can of 196, some places are selling here for $15.
Yeah,
So
one
that's
can.
where they're making their money, overseas
overseas.
markets.
Yeah, that was my favorite conclusion of Rose, that they just don't make money in Japan.
Yeah. It's like that when Cole started selling milk for $1. It was a loss maker, but they made it up on the other stuff. Who knows? But that's just the drink
So that's just the going out, the bars, the clubs, the karaoke,
yeah.
all night, every
excellent.
night.
For me, the nightlife, what summed up our experience was when one of our last nights, when we wanted to do something, but a couple people were sick, a couple people didn't want to drink. And normally, if you're in Sydney, you're out at 10, 11, you don't want to drink, got to head home.
Yeah.
Or you got to
Not
do
much
something
we
at
do.
someone's house, right? We went to a 24/7, like, what would you call it? What would you
Like
call around?
entertainment center.
Entertainment center, bowling, batting cages, all sorts of
I
sport.
mean, we didn't really have anything similar to that even in Sydney
Nah.
like that. It's like a 6-floor extravaganza of every floor, different kinds of sports, games, arcades.
Had karaoke, arcades.
Yeah.
You could do all that dirt cheap as well. I think
24/7.
I think you can go like a whole day pass for like $30.
$30.
$30, you can be there 24 hours.
Right. So we did that. And then after that, we finished at like 1. We're going to get a bowl of ramen.
Yeah.
We had to pick which ramen place, no less. It's not like we had to go to one.
Yeah, they're all open. Like, I don't know when these workers sleep because everything
It's
is
crazy.
just open late. To be fair, it starts late. Like a lot of the shopping and the restaurants will only open at like 11 o'clock ish, but they'll go till like 3, 4 a.m.
But that's
So
how
you're
it
chilling.
should be. Because my biggest gripe here in Sydney is shops open at 9.
Yeah.
We all clock in.
I got stand up at 9.
Yeah, we're all
respectfully.
working at 9, and they all close at 5.
Yeah.
I finish work 5:36. So where do I have time to go to the shops? At least in Japan, they open at 11 and they stay open until 9,
Yeah.
9:30.
Yeah, it's good.
One of the most outrageous things, our missus, they got like their hair done at like 1 a.m.
That was-
Nails, hair, everything.
What was that about?
That was actually crazy. Yeah, like your missus went to go get a haircut. She was literally asleep in the hairdresser's seat like at 12:30.
What do we do? Batting cage.
cage.
Oh, the batting cages. Wow. I wish they had them in Sydney.
Yeah.
Batting cages, were they 24/7 as well?
They were
Yeah, they
24/7.
were. You put some
Wow.
coins in, they chuck 20 balls at you.
Yeah, $3 for 25 balls. That's
Yeah.
value.
No.
Such value. And then,
Nightlife is just miles ahead.
and then you got Don Quixote open
Alright.
24/7.
Yeah, speaking of shopping, Don Quixote, it's like another 7-story extravaganza.
It's like a Harvey Norman, but they're not owned by cunts.
No.
And it's 24/7.
It's like a Maya, but if Maya was like
Good.
no, a reject shop. Like the
Yeah.
vibes of the reject shop.
Yeah, it had stuff from the reject shop up to literally Louis Vuitton bags. So like it's literally anything you can imagine, they had it.
In Don Quixote. But it was also like packed. I thought that shopping experience was a bit strange, to be honest.
It was crazy. I
Don
loved it.
Quixote.
Yeah, because you're just looking at all the lewd material for about an hour, bro.
Yeah, there's a whole level where they've got like maid outfits for girls and like schoolgirl outfits.
They had like
and around the corner, they have sex toys.
Yeah.
I
Did you not get to that part, Sam?
No, I actually feel like I've been shortchanged here.
they have titty magazines, but the titties are censored. Everything's censored in there.
One night, me and Manu decided to go do laundry in Kyoto.
Speaking of nightlife.
yeah, we did laundry at 1 a.m. This place was on top of a club, mind you. And yeah, we had to kill an hour while our clothes were washing. So we tried to read some manga. Obviously, it was all in Japanese.
Yeah.
So we resorted to reading the titty mags. But to your point,
No,
the
hang
titty
on.
yeah.
The front of it was like human, I think.
Oh yeah.
But as soon as you crack it open, it's more manga.
It was a very odd magazine, and we're pretty sure one guy took one of the titty mags and went to the bathroom and cracked one out. But anyway, that's
Yeah, this laundromat we went to was nefarious.
it was a crazy
What,
one.
did he actually?
Yeah,
Yeah, so you walked in, cracked a shower.
Shower in the laundromat?
yeah. There was
Yeah.
a toilet, a shower, changing room.
No.
What
So
is
it
this
wasn't. It
place?
wasn't primarily a laundromat. It was primarily a PC cafe slash
Okay.
manga reading area slash.
I think there was like
There's beds. There was also beds.
It was like a hostel.
But no, but
kind
you
of
can't
vibe.
stay overnight. It's like
Yeah.
if you're there during the day, you need a couple hours with a computer or a couple hours
Have a
to
snooze.
do other things.
You bat off a few times and then you go
Oh,
nap
it's
it
a
off.
love
and,
hotel. Is it a love hotel?
Nah,
But it's not a love
it
hotel.
wasn't a love hotel.
It's whatever we just described, right? So we're doing our there's a laundromat section, right? We're doing our laundry and we see some bloke walk in, rough around the edges, takes a shower, walks out of the shower and head beeline straight to the nudie mags. And he's there for a good like half hour. He was like scratching his ass at some point.
All right, one quick anecdote about Japan, right? Or observation, I should say, is that there's no niche specialties. Like any store in Japan just seems to do everything. Like you go in, you go 7 stories, everything's just like massive stories up, and you just go bang, 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 bang.
Oh, you're talking about like the department stores.
No, just anything. Like this laundromat, which is apparently a hotel, this and that. Everything. Like you go in, you just ask for something, and they magically
they
have
just
it.
have it. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Nightlife. I mean, this is again. Japan wipes the floor with Sydney.
Yeah.
4-1 Tokyo.
Alrighty, that brings us to the end of a very, very long yarn-filled episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Again, a massive thank you to everyone who bought tickets for our live show. Very keen to see you guys there. You can also check out our older episodes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And of course, give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok.